country.
Yeah.
And as we get into a conversation around Lest We Forget, I think we need a reminder, Eric, not because we've forgotten, but because we go through so many things.
Yep.
And it's easy for things to get to the back burner or to be something that we revisit every once in a while, but don't really dig deep into it. Even the fact that it's not even been 2 years, but the news cycle has forgotten. Not us though, right?
It seems to be moving. How did this begin? This began with just news coming that there are people who are starving themselves and their children. And there's a particular woman who was then arrested by a chief, and it was covered in the news. And the next thing is actually the people around there saying, no, it's not just her. There has been a whole church here that has been holding congregations here, and it's been saying that people are starving because they want to get closer to the Lord. Very many conflicting stories coming at that point, that the church leadership was saying that there's going to be huge catastrophe in the world, and we're preparing people to go before. Others saying that the teachings of the church are that we shall all live in heaven if we remove ourselves from this earth, and so on and so forth. And then the government came in and they started investigating, and Pastor Paul Mackenzie and his followers, they were initially arrested. The then Interior Cabinet Secretary, Professor Kithure Kindiki, went to Shakahola and said, now this is going to be a police operation, cordon off the area, let no member of the public come in, this is a police operation. And they got in NYS, they also got in support from the Kenya Red Cross and others to start digging up and finding bodies in shallow graves. They also found people who were not yet dead, but they were living in some makeshift houses or found under some trees. They were emaciated, they were hungry, they were starving themselves. And all of them were saying that this is the journey that I've chosen to take. Then families started coming out and saying, oh yes, my relative, my brother, my father, my spouse was a member of this church. From as far as Western Kenya, going further even beyond that, people coming out to say, I remember so-and-so. When they left home, they said that they're going to heaven. We did not understand exactly what they meant. And I heard that they have gone to Kilifi to join a certain church. And now I'm hearing that people from that church were starving themselves. And there are many who are being dug up from the shallow graves. I am going to Kilifi to see if I can identify my kin. When they landed there, they found that the ministry and the government had set up a desk. You can register yourself. You ask a couple of questions. Let us establish really whether there's a possibility that this person is among those that are here. And by last count, the government had over 400 people, over 600 people who had said, our kin are here. It's been phases of exhumations on those grounds, and more than 400 bodies have been exhumed. It's been another tedious and long process of saying, how do we conduct post-mortem, and how do we then start identifying the bodies that we have exhumed from these grounds? And after we have done that, shall we be able to hand them over to their relatives that we've identified? Some of these bodies, the government pathologist said, were badly decomposed, so it can only be a DNA process that establishes this. This has not happened. It's been 2 years now since the first case of Shakahola was reported. How many people are still sitting and wondering, where is my relative? Roseline Asena has her brother and his wife who were part of the congregation of this church. Their 5 children are missing, and the family believes that those may be dead, because the parents of these 5 children, that is Roseline's brother and his wife, when they're asked where are the children, they say, wako na Yesu. Where is this couple? This couple is behind bars, is among those that are being held with Pastor Mackenzie. Roseline lives in Nairobi. She traveled to Kisii to see her brother and try to find the children, dead or alive. She's here so she can narrate her experience and the journey that her family plus others have gone through. Roseline, good morning and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. My name is Roseline. I'm a resident. I've been a resident of Mukuru for a very long time within Nairobi. And Shakahola story is one of the hardest part is one of the hardest story to tell for any family that was directly affected. It's very hard. It's not easy. Most of them are very angry. I'm in a WhatsApp group where majority don't want to talk about it. You ask them, it's either they start crying or they're just angry.
Who are the members of the WhatsApp group?
Just people who are affected from different families. We have even people from Tanzania.
So people who think that their family members...
their family, they reported that their family member has never been found to date. Yeah, so personally, can I go now straight to
your story?
To my story.
Your brother.
Yeah, my brother had joined the church long before the massacre happened. In around 2015, 2016, 2017. But it was just a normal church, the way you can just understand if these people are going to church, we are happy, they are taking the Lord's way, they are now godly, they will not fight in their family, things will be good. The way we believe, God is the center of everything on earth. And so at some point when they started saying, the wife started reporting that my brother has refused for the family to go to hospital. And also he has refused for the children to be taken to school. And so the wife was she was not okay with that. And so she reported to her family, and we were like, we will support you only if you go to hospital, because you understand when you are sick, you should go to hospital. So at some point, I was just watching TV and I saw my brother in the dock. And I wondered, what is happening?
Like a court dock?
Yes.
Okay.
A court dock. And I looked at him and immediately I took a snap and sent it to my sister. Is that Kevin? And she said, yes, he is. And I told her, share with Auntie to confirm. And the whole family confirmed. And now I started asking myself, now he is in the dock. How did he get in the dock? Now we started getting glued. The whole family started getting glued to the TV to start following on the story. And now we organized. I had to go to Malindi. I'm the firstborn in the family. And there was no one who was to give the family the updates on what exactly is happening. So in May, around the first week of May, I went to Malindi.
This is 2023.
I went to Malindi, and on getting there, the first position was to go to the DCI. Because I was expecting the first procedure is to report my missing kin. If we saw our brother, where is the wife? Where are the children? We all understand he has 5 children. So you are to report. But on the OB desk, that is Malindi Police Station. We were directed to go to the DCI office. They said, all Shakahola massacre issues, you are directed to the DCI office. And so we went to that office. In that office, we are not allowed to report officially and be given an OB number. You are just directed to record a statement. Record on when your family got engaged with the church, explain who they are, how many people do you think are not, maybe are missing, and that's what we did. We recorded the statement, and from there, I was directed to, first of all, go to Malindi Hospital to see if my sister-in-law is there, so that the sister-in-law now would give us the information about the children. So I went to Malindi Hospital. She was not there. I was told she had been taken to a different place. It was a faith-based place. I was directed to that place. I went there. She was not there. Then it was, at some point, I was told she has been taken to Mutwapa for medical attention. So I could not meet her. I could not see the children. So I decided, went back to the DCI office and asked them, are there places where children were rescued and taken to? And so now I was told it's Mayungu. So I asked them, how do I get to Mayungu Children's Center? Then I was told we will give you a letter, a document, and you go there. So now I was given the document that is kind of gate pass. So I arrived at Mayungu Rescue Center. I was not allowed to get in. I was told I was supposed to be given some security, escort, everything. And I told them, I've not been given security. This is the document I have. And they accepted. And so they said, but you need to know that we don't have these children because I had the pictures. We don't have them here. And I told them, okay, wait, listen. You don't have the children, but at least you have children that you rescued. Children know each other. They know each other. I will not go to them, go to them. Take these pictures to them. Take the names to them. Ask them, are they aware about these pictures? And then so there are 2 of them who said, we know them. They said, I know Ashley, I know Gloria, I know their father, I know their mother. And in fact, he said he knows me. He was around 14 years. He said he knows me. He had just come from our home. So he has once heard about me. And the uncle who brought them here, they all understand me because now we come from one village. And so this kid said, first of all, the information I have is that the last born died and was buried. The second last born died and was buried. He also mentioned the third last born was also already dead and buried. Then he said, the only thing he's not sure is the firstborn. But he knows Gloria, being the secondborn, she died, but now at that point, security was very high. So Gloria was carried and buried in Shakahola, but not where they were living. The place was called, I'm forgetting the name, but the village that they were living in, that is where Gloria was buried. So only Ashley is the one who was left starving, almost to die. So the boy did not know if Ashley died or did not die or was rescued, but he was very sure the 4 were already dead and buried. Yes. So I went back with this information. I was heartbroken. I was down. You know, going to Malindi, it's very far. It is very costly. It's not a place I know people like in Nairobi. I would even call someone to give me some space or some food.
To accommodate you.
To accommodate me. Yeah. It's very costly. And so at least I had hopes, even with that cost, I would come back with 1 child or 2 or 3 out of 5. But unfortunately, that was now the information. When I went back to the DCI, they told me now that information is not factual. It can only be factual if and when we do the DNA test. So what we are going to do now, go record everything now at there is that desk that is now at Malindi Hospital, the DCI desk. I go now afresh again and record the information that I have, that I have gotten from Mayungu Rescue Center. And so I went to that desk, recorded everything, and they still told me that cannot be factual. That is your information. That is their information at the Children Rescue Center. But our information, we must do a DNA test. So we are going to give you tracing number,
Yeah.
a DNA tracing number, and that is what we will use to come and trace if we will get information. So to date,
This is still in 2023.
yes,
Around April, May?
May.
Around May 2023.
Yes. So I had no much to stay, to continue keeping me in Malindi. It was not easy to continue waiting when you are not sure what you are waiting for, if it will come up. And so I decided it's time to go back. And I went back. I gave my family the update. I told them we just need to wait. Remember, at home, they were preparing for the 5
For the funerals.
funerals. They were preparing, and they have always prepared to date. We have never had closure. We have never been given any information. There is no update from the Department of the DNA, the DCI that are doing the DNA. There is no update, no call. If we are supposed to call, we are the one to call. Like for me, I have the contacts of the officers. I call them and ask them, what is happening? And they say, not yet, not
Bado
yet,
tunangoja.
not yet. But for them just giving us an official update of where they are, nothing.
So from 2023, no update. It's just the same. We're looking into it.
No update. Yeah.
Roseline, did you get to speak to your brother?
Last year, May, I made another visit because I told myself if I have to do it, I'll be planning it yearly because it has now come to the in open that we will still wait for long. So in May last year, I decided I bring together a WhatsApp group for people to help me get the facilitation to drop at Malindi, see my brother, see the wife, because now we had information. The wife had been discharged from the hospital, and now she had been taken to Shimolatewa prison. So I decided, these are my people. I need to visit them. So in May, I traveled and visited them. I got at Shimolatewa prison. I first of all met the wife because I really wanted to know what the wife is saying about the children.
Yeah.
And when I met the wife, she was kind of, me, I left my children with your brother. So it's your brother. You should ask where the children are. When I got arrested, I was arrested in the forest. And I asked her, what were you doing in the forest? And she said, I had gone to cultivate some of my vegetables. But immediately I saw people, officers coming to arrest me. And I look at what she was saying and connecting with exactly what I saw on TV, it was very different. By the time she was arrested, she was almost dying, completely dehydrated.
She was emaciated.
Exactly.
And that's the image of hers that you saw on TV.
Yes.
But she claims that she was just
Farming.
farming.
She was just farming. And so I asked her, okay, fine. Then why didn't you tell the officers that you are, you have children? And she said, I cried. I screamed. I told them I have children. Allow me to go take my children. But they refused.
Okay.
So
And you spoke then you spoke to your brother.
yeah, then now, after that, I went to speak to my brother. So I asked my brother, yes, how are you? What's happening? How is everything? Where are the children? He said, my children are somewhere safe, very safe, and no one should bother. The children are very safe. They are playing, they are dancing, they are eating, they are healthy. My children are very safe. So please don't bother.
This is a year after he was arrested.
Exactly.
And he is still adamant and insisting that where the children went is a safer, better, happier place.
That's what he said.
That's his insistence.
That is his statement.
He had been
How do I
behind
say
bars.
something different from what he says?
Right.
That's what he says.
He had never been out of jail for the full year, right?
He has never been out.
Released?
He has never been released. The wife is also
Same story. She was in
Same-
hospital and then
yes, yeah.
and then Shimolatewa.
yes.
All right. We're about to take a short break, but when we come back, of course, we'll continue with Rosaline's story, figure out if she's made any headway as far as tracing the 5 children that are her nieces and nephews. And of course, if you have any question, hashtag is FixingTheNationNTV. Leave it on YouTube, on TikTok, comments as well on X, and we will be more than happy to share. We'll be right back.
What's up, nation? My name is Moses Rono, the president of St. Paul's University, and this is my take on fixing the nation. If it is about yourself, you'll be given a spoon. If it is about your family, you'll be given a plate. But if it is about your generation, you'll be given access to the kitchen. It is so unfortunate that those with access to the kitchen have only themselves to think of, and they forget about the greater majority. And so I believe fixing the nation will entail those with a heart for the generation gaining access to the kitchen, and we are very ready to change our generation. As they say, if a child is not embraced by the village, he will burn it down to experience its warmth. The next generation needs to feel the warmth of good governance.
What's up, nation? My name is Nelson Wafula from Bronx University, and I'm advocating for free, fair, and democratic nation. We're fixing the nation.
This is Mary in Migori County. I am fixing the nation, and we as youths are fixing the nation by embracing education and advocating for change. Voices zetu kama youths zinasaidia kubuild a society that offers equal opportunities for both genders.
This is Philip Sagu from Eldoret City. This is what I do to fix the nation.
I like the student from St. Paul's University who says, I mean, it's about generations. You need to be given access to the kitchen, not to be given a spoon, not to be given a plate, but to get access to the kitchen so that you can prepare the meal.
Yeah.
It's about generation.
It's about preparing it for the next generation as well.
Yes. And it says we are ready. We are ready to get into the kitchen.
Yeah.
To start preparing the meal for the next generation.
They've shown us time and time again that they are ready.
Right.
They are ready.
The future is now.
The future is now.
Yeah.
So
there's no future to look forward. It's now.
yeah,
It's
when
like
they
now.
say the leaders of tomorrow, I'm like, no, they're already leading. let's accept that they're already in
Right.
leadership and
Yeah.
they're doing it in different ways.
Yeah.
But what's your message to us? 0112500400 is how you can send up your WhatsApp Nation. And now there's even something more exciting to make it
a little bit easier.
a little bit easier.
Yes.
Usiseme bundles ni shida in case, because we know honestly, throughout the day you're tweeting, you're scrolling, you're watching Fixing the Nation, but 1,000 bob could get you an amazing bundle courtesy of Airtel. It's called the Smarter Bundle, and it gives you 30 GB of data, so you can WhatsApp Nation until we get tired of you. But no, that's not going to happen, right? Until you get tired of us, that's also not going to happen. But 30 GB of data, that you can use 1 GB a day, 1 GB a day, and you'd still be good at the end of the month, especially a short one like February. You also get 400 minutes for any network, so you can call, and of course 3,000 Airtel to Airtel minutes. That's crazy. At that comes about to 100 minutes daily. That's really a lot of minutes. And of course you also get SMSs, and you get 100% of your bank to wallet transfer fee back as airtime. That means when you move money from your bank to your Airtel wallet, then that transaction fee comes back to you as airtime. So in essence, how to spend Kitu, it's a free transfer, and you now also have airtime to make a call. Easy as that.
It's a way to do it. It's a way to do it. It's called what, the bundle?
Smarter Bundle.
Yeah, it's smarter. Smarter. Our conversation continues with Roseline Asena. Lest we forget the Shakahola massacre and what's happened since then. Many families like Roseline's are sitting there and they still don't have an answer. Roseline believes that 5 of her nephews and nieces, aged between 2 years and 15 years, died and were buried in Shakahola. Her brother and his wife are behind bars. They were members of the Paul Mackenzie Church. they're behind bars. When she spoke to her brother and asked, where are my children? The brother said, people should stop worrying about my children. They are somewhere safe, they are playing, they are happy, and they are jovial. The wife, who was covered on TV when she was picked up by the police in Shakahola, was emaciated from what she appeared. And when Roseline talked to her, she said, I was just arrested. I was out there. I was just, tending to my garden, looking for my vegetables for my family. But I'd left the children with your brother. Can you go and ask? So there's that. There's the journey that Roseline has just given us, what she's gone through, of going to the DCI in Malindi, going to report to the DCI desk, and joining a list of very many people who went to the DCI and said, we believe that our relatives are here. They're among those bodies that have been exhumed. We'd like you to please just give us the body so we can go and conduct burial rites. So we can have closure and just know that my 5 nephews and nieces, here they are, let's bury them. But since then, Roseline, you're saying every time you are the one who has to reach out to the police, to the authorities, to ask how far they've gone. Yeah. They have never reached out to you as somebody who went and recorded and said, my relatives are missing.
They don't, which is very unfortunate, because we expect anyone in the government, anyone responsible, to be human, to understand these are people, these are lives. One of the things that we need to be very serious about should be life. But once a life has been reported, there is need for every other person who is responsible to take that initiative of finding and helping that family to get to understand where is this life. Even when we are not getting to see it, we need that support in that journey. We need that support. We need to work together. And the first place should be the government. Remember, in the first place, it is the government that dropped the ball. Where was the government in the first place before it happened? Where was the government? Where was the area chief? Where was Nyumba Kumi? Where were the community health volunteers? Where were the community children officers? Where were they? To get to a point of over 400, it's a shame. It's a shame. It's something that should not repeat at any time, and it should never happen to any family in the whole world. I can never think of any other family going through the agony we are going through as a family. It's hard.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about everything you're dealing with. I know it's difficult. You're also in touch with other families. They're saying the same thing. Is there any family that you're in touch with that has gotten any step closer to just finding out what happened to their loved ones? Or is every one of you being told, wait, we'll come back to you?
In fact, when they saw the advert, I sent the advert in the group, and they were asking me if the DNA report will be live today. How was I going to respond to that? And I told them, no, I'm just going to share the experience of what we are going through. They really expect one day, even if we are not told that this is your family, this is how far we just want to be told this is the list of the people we have gotten so far, or identified. This is the list of the ones we are working on. And you will look at that list and see that my family member is part of the list that is being worked on. How do we know if they are working on it? Even when we visit, they don't give us any update.
Just a communication thing, and it comes across very often when we're having conversations here. But on the communication bit still, in how much contact were you with your brother prior to seeing the wife on the news and seeing Shakahola on the news? Were you speaking regularly, or had you not spoken for a while?
Okay, we were speaking regularly up until the conversation on him saying the children should not go to hospital, they should not go to school. That one now started stretching the relationship a bit. Because even at home, my dad was like, you cannot stay here with children who are not going to school.
Right.
You cannot stay here with a child who cannot be taken to hospital, because one of the children, the third born, was having whooping cough. And we understand whooping cough is after immunization, it goes away. But that whooping cough was there, and he was like, my child should not go to hospital. So my dad was like, not here. You won't stay here if you can't go to hospital. Because now, what is that? That is new.
Right.
That is absurd. We can't accept it. And when schools opened, and they, in fact, the family, our in-laws, from my sister-in-laws, they said, we will take the children if you cannot take them to school.
Right.
And my dad said, okay, fine, we can help each other. But my brother and my sister-in-law went to the school, took the children, and went straight to Malindi without even passing at home. So there was that stretch. But who knew it was going to end to losing the same children we were fighting for to go to school?
Right, there's no way to know. I'm asking because I want to know from other families that you've spoken to, people in the WhatsApp group, if things also got more extreme with them before we got to see Shakahola, right? Did they also talk about losing touch with their families, or seeing, the starvation, or seeing the children being pulled out of school and nobody being allowed to go to hospital? Was that a common thread from the other families that you've spoken to?
Yeah. The disconnect came in with the absurd story of saying, my children will not go to school. There's this other one who said the mother. The mother went to Malindi with his children and the brothers. So the mother, all of them have never been found.
Right.
And the disconnect is the same. They just started saying, we cannot go to hospital, we are in charge. So they are in charge from morning to evening. Every other day they are singing, they are just preaching. So that disconnect was there across all families.
Okay.
Yes.
So it seems that, there was clearly a phase where things were getting more extreme within the church, and it's pulling children out of school, not going to hospital, etc.
And remember, all this was being reported. There are people who had reported
from the beginning.
From the beginning.
And they were already seeing signs.
They had OB numbers at Malindi saying, my son has come from university and he has said he will not go back to university because he is within one of the churches around here.
Right.
I'm unable to access the church, but no one. We don't understand what Mackenzie was doing with the police in Malindi. Because at that point, what is the work of the police? To maintain law and order. And in maintaining law and order, they were supposed to find out who is this taking children out of school. There are people who had reported that my daughter has just left her workplace and she doesn't want to go to that workplace because there is a church. This church is going against the will of and the laws of the country.
Yeah.
But there was no one who was kind of ready to find out what is happening. And in fact, it's like they were being given some force, some support, some rescue. If no one could step in that land, what does that mean? And it got to a point when, if you listen to the witnesses, they say, we got to a point where we were not able to go to this market. So we were just confined. If you are found at the gate, you are beaten and taken back to the compound. If the chief could see it, there was no way he was going to raise their voices. So everything that came to happen later, the security, the NYS, it came very late. It was too late.
So reports had been made that people were missing, children were leaving school, people were leaving their workplaces, but nothing happened.
Even some children in rescue centers are children who were ran away
from
and were rescued.
That Mayungu Rescue Center or others?
Other rescue centers. There are children who had ran away and were now in safe hands of some rescue people. But they could not go back because they said we will be killed. But still no one took any initiative to find out what exactly is happening here. Yeah.
Is there a collective way? First of all, I want to start by asking the community where all this has happened. Do you feel like the community has also been supportive in trying to seek answers from authorities, one? And two, how can you speak to how we can prevent things like this happening? What signs do people need to look out for? Because we're dealing with religious extremism, right? This is something that is likely to happen again and again. You saw signs, people are saying that they saw signs. How do you think communities and society needs to be a bit more vigilant? And how is the community also just aiding you in trying to seek for justice?
Communities have not much done. When they get to a point when they feel they need to report, communities should report. But that is the much they can do. Action should be taken by the responsible entities. What am I supposed to do if I report and you don't take action? You get? I can't go kill myself because you did not take action. The only place that needs to take action is where we report. If I report to the chief should take an initiative of following up, going to the extent, asking me, have you gotten any information? I am working on this. Can you come over? That is the only thing the community can do. But if we report and nothing happens, you follow up again. Remember, we have a life. We also need to live. You cannot just now start deciding this is the only thing I'll be following. And to some extent, you might even die. There are people in Malindi who said, I almost died following up on this story. When it gets to a point where you need to cross the line, you get back.
When they say they almost died following up, what do they mean?
They were threatened.
By who?
By the people who were in that cult.
The members of the church?
The members of the church.
Okay.
Yeah, they were
the ones who are
threatened.
outside, not in jail, right? The ones who are still free.
The ones who are free, there are people who ran away. There's a man who decided to take his child, a son, because he had been forced. I asked him, why were you in Shakahola? And he said, I went to look for land. I got some few coins and I decided, let me go to look for land. I didn't go to the church.
Right.
So when I got there, I was given a piece of land and I was told this is where you can construct your own house. But then later on, I was forced to be a member of the church. That the community around here cannot be a full community without going to church. So he decided if that's just a church, I'll go. Yeah. So he started going there. But at some point, when they started that it is a demand, you must starve. You must make sure your children are starving. That's when he decided, no, I need to leave. So he had to do things in his own way to make sure he's out. He ran out. But he said he cannot come out if he's not assured of his security. And that is one person saying that. How many others are we talking about?
Yeah.
So there are many questions here that go directly to the government. In April 2024, I was among the journalists who interviewed President William Ruto in the State House. And a question was posed to him by Lofty Matambo of NTV. And it was, what's happened in Shakahola, Mr. President? Would you apologize to the people of Kenya over what has happened? And the president said, yes. I said, on behalf of the government of Kenya, I take responsibility and I apologize for what has happened. But we are going to make sure that we go deep and establish what exactly happened, where were the lapses, and give closure to the families. This was in April 2023.
Almost a year ago, exactly.
Almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
To date, we have people like Roseline and others who don't have an answer. What has happened since then? Government launched an operation in Shakahola, went and exhumed bodies. And the bodies were so many that at some point they had nowhere to store the bodies. So what they did is they now started putting the bodies in...
the Red Cross gave them a container.
In containers, in the Red Cross containers. So once the Red Cross containers were then provided, so the bodies were now being put in those Red Cross containers. Many of them were being exhumed and they had already, decomposed beyond recognition. Johansen Odor, the government pathologist, was going through the phase of post-mortem. So they let the bodies come, we conduct post-mortem, and the government was now phasing it. We exhume, we give them to Johansen and his team. As they're conducting post-mortem, we pause exhumation, post-mortem happens. And for many that Dr. Johansen Odor and his team established, there were children, they had died out of starvation. Some of them had blunt force trauma, which means that they were being bludgeoned to death. You can see that this person is so weak, so you assist them and especially the children. This is what was going on. This is what Johansen is saying. And once they have done the post-mortem, they put the bodies there. Now the next stage would be the identification of those bodies, many of them through DNA. That has not happened. Very many phases of exhumation have taken place. The government is holding over 400 bodies in those containers. They know that over 600 people have come here to say that our people are missing. You have people who have come to say, my person is missing. You have a body. You have done post-mortem. Why are you not doing the DNA testing to identify and to link body to relative?
Right.
Why are you not doing that? In fact, even if you just said, we have identified, so Roseline, these are your 5 nephews and nieces. But we're going to continue holding them because we have a case in court going on.
Yeah.
But at least you know that for sure I know. Give us a name of one of your nieces and nephews. Just a name.
The first one is Ashley.
So at least you'd be knowing that I know Ashley was among those that were buried, was among those that were exhumed, and is now lying in this makeshift morgue with the government. And the reason why the government is continuing to hold is for this and the other. Now, those 600 people have no answer. None. And we have a government that is in place today, an interior docket, intelligence system, and all, and they seem not to care for the well-being of the 600 family members. And that's what really always bothers me. It bothers me that it's, I mean, 400. 400 people, that's a huge number. 400 is the largest disaster in the history of the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
You have 400 bodies that you're holding somewhere, and you don't know who they are. And you're telling me you're not bothering to find out who are these people, just from a government perspective.
Right. Or even bothering to share with the families.
And then just say, okay, so
update them.
You came and reported that your people are missing. We have some bodies here. Just hold on. This is what we are doing. We are going into phase 5 of exhumation. We are going into phase 5 of post-mortem. We are going into phase 1 of DNA. We don't have enough DNA samples. Give us your... Nothing.
That's why we do lest we forget. Because next time, your story can now help us just probe and find out why exactly has this process stalled. And they have to give an answer, whatever answer it may be. And I hope it's not an excuse of we're looking into it. No. Why aren't you following these prerequisite steps to make sure that body is identified and families are informed? So it starts with people like you. And hopefully this can then inform for us to probe so that in a few weeks we can come back here and say, this is the update that we have. And so that hopefully there can be closure for you and the rest of the families affected. So all the same, we thank you for just coming and lending your voice on behalf of so many who cannot, because they're scared, because they're traumatized. And I think you are able to add a piece to the puzzle. I know it's very brave of you, and we appreciate you, and we truly hope and pray that you can get justice, you and many others. We'll use this as an opportunity to find out what happened.
Agreed. The next time a CS for Interior is sitting here, any duty bearer from the police, etc., these are the questions we will ask. And like Janet said, thank you so much. And Pole Sana, I know it is very difficult living in limbo, not knowing whether your nieces and nephews are alive or dead, not having closure for yourself and for all the families affected from this Shakahola massacre. We have to wrap up the show now, but a big thank you, of course, to Roseline, Asena. Thank you for spending time with us this morning. We really do appreciate you. And of course, we'll keep this conversation going. It doesn't end here. We're about to close the show, but just a final reminder before we let you go. Our hashtag remains FixingTheNationNTV. We're across all social platforms. Now, ukisema sina bundles, sina bundles, leo sina bundles, kuna smarter bundle ya Airtel. 1,000 bob gets you 30 GB of data. That's 1 GB a day. That's 5,000 challenges a month. No, I'm kidding. How many TikTok challenges can you do with 1 GB? Where'd you pang it to? Of course, you also get minutes, about 400 for any network. So piga simu hadi uchoke, hadi mtu aulize maji. You talk until you get tired. And of course, you also get 3,000 Airtel to Airtel minutes and 2,000 SMSs to any network. Usiseme hauna bundle that's working for you. Kama ni WhatsApp Nation unataka, get yourself the smarter bundle. Easy as that.
We have 4 conversations every day on Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. We've had 4 of them today. More will be coming tomorrow is Thursday. Yeah.
Seems like
tomorrow into Friday, into next week, into many years to come. Thank you for joining us everywhere on NTV, on Nation FM, on YouTube, on Facebook, and TikTok and X. Please let the conversations continue online, and you can also find these discussions if you missed any. For example, our conversation with the CS for Housing, Alice Wahome, you'll find it on our YouTube. You'll also find it on your favorite podcast. Wherever you find it, you will find them there. Asante sana, have a lovely day. See you again tomorrow. It's 10 a.m.